Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Nerd Corner. I'm Josh.
And I'm Matt, and today we have a very special week of content for you. It's Christopher Nolan week.
Because Interstellar is coming out for select audiences Wednesday and us Friday, we're going to be reviewing our favorite Christopher Nolan movies. Starting with Memento, and then Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, and Watchmen. Never mind about Watchmen.
Let's do this.
I would like to introduce
I have this condition.
A condition?
It's my memory.
Amnesia.
No. It's different from that. Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades. If we talk for too long, I'll forget how we started. And next time I see you, I'm not going to remember this conversation.
What's the last thing that you do remember?
My wife.
That's sweet.
Dying.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Starting off for day one of Christopher Nolan week, we'll be watching Memento.
So, Memento is Christopher Nolan's, technically it's like his third film he's ever done. He did Insomnia, or he did The Following before that, and a short film called Doodlebug.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, so Memento was like the first Nolan brothers, like to quote, like to be the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
It's him and his brother. His brother made a short story, and they went ahead and were like, well, let's go ahead and make it into a film known as Memento, starring, of course, Guy Pearce and starring the chick from The Matrix. I don't remember her name. And Joe Pantoliano from The Matrix. So they basically got everyone from The Matrix and Guy Pearce, and put him in Memento. So what do you think of it?
Well, I actually watched Memento twice, like when I first saw it.
Mm.
I watched like the first half of it and then stopped. I don't know why. I think it was because I was watching it by myself. I didn't really it didn't draw me in, and I didn't know about the great ending, that it's known for.
Right.
So then I went back and watched it again, and I'm like, alright, I'm going to stick through it. Because, it is kind of hard to follow at first because it's all told through flashbacks. Guy Pearce's character, he doesn't have, he has short-term memory loss, and he has to write down everything in tattoos to remember, and he only lives day to day because when he goes to sleep, he wakes up and doesn't remember what happened. It's like 51st Dates, but really dark.
It's weird because he forgets stuff really quickly. So there are scenes in the movie where you don't know what's happening because it's like the best thing about this movie is it's pieced together like short-term memory loss. Like you don't know what's happening because it's like through Guy Pearce's perspective. And so what he does is he's going through and there's a scene where he's running and he's like, why am I running? And then there's a scene way later on in the movie where you see why he's running and he's just like, okay, blah, blah. And then it cuts away from that scene. So it's really jumbled. Mm-hmm. Well, someone described, whenever I first watched it, my friend Cameron, he described it as it is a movie that starts out with the ending and ends with the beginning. And it's so weird because that's true. It starts out with but it starts out the ending, ends with the beginning, and there's jumble up in between. It's like point A, there's point A and point A and a half, over here, and then it's like that. It's kind of weird.
It almost could be considered an experimental film of sorts because it doesn't stick to conventional storytelling at all. It's almost like, how Pulp Fiction is not told linear.
Yeah.
And there are non-linear movies, but I haven't watched a non-linear movie this non-linear, if that makes sense. You really, until you start getting all the facts, you really don't understand what part you're watching until the end. And then it reveals the big setup that Christopher Nolan's been trying to show you, and the whole payoff of it, is the end. So if you stick with it, you're going to really enjoy this movie. You're going to say, wow, that was one of the best movies I've ever watched. As far as Storytelling, it's fantastic. As far as the acting goes, Guy Pearce, it's probably one of his best roles I've seen him in. And Al Pacino is in it too, which we forgot to mention. And Al Pacino, gotta love that guy.
So like in the movie, like its strongest suit is its non-linear structure, because it's really entertaining. It's really fresh. It's like a fresh take on that. Like you said, Pulp Fiction did that, but Pulp Fiction wasn't this non-linear. Like this is just a whole bunch of crazy, a whole bunch of images and like actions happening and stuff like that. And Guy Pearce does it. He plays a person with short-term memory really well in this movie. Like all the performances, even like the ones that aren't really like super Oscar-worthy, are still good performances. From the side characters, and the movie itself has such they had a vision. And they stuck with that vision, and that is Memento is one of the first movies that it put Christopher Nolan on the map. That was what movie-going audiences saw in him. They said, "Wow, this guy has a ridiculous amount of potential, and he is such a great director."
And Christopher Nolan, is such a good director. When I went and watched Memento, that's one of his earliest films, and that's why we're doing it, on day one. But you could watch The Dark Knight and then watch Memento and think, you wouldn't be able to tell which came first.
Yeah.
Aside from, of course, the camera, how it looks. But even then, it's the art of the storytelling that they did in that movie is so superior to many of the movies that come out in theaters now. It's just you're blown away by how good, and sorry to be a fanboy here, how good Christopher Nolan really was and is, and who knows how good Interstellar is going to be,
Exactly. We have a review about that. But it's Memento, like you said, it's it holds up today. It's a modern day classic, I feel like. How a lot of people say, Psycho still holds up today.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, 12 Angry Men stands up today. Memento stands up to today, and it was around when a lot of movies weren't great. You know what I mean? It was that 2000-ish period where a lot of movies weren't great, but that was a really standout movie. And like you say, going back on it today, looking back on it, it's still a great film. Take Christopher Nolan's name out of it, it's still a great film.
I think one thing I enjoy about it, what do you remember what year exactly Memento came out?
I'm not totally sure.
Well, we're gonna say we don't know, but there's no real special effects. There's no real explosions. There's no big gunfights. There's a few chase scenes. But I think this goes to show for young filmmakers and even veterans that a good movie is not defined by your ability to use special effects.
Right.
Michael
Bay, listen if you're watching.
Special effects are something that should be the cream on the top. You can't expect a movie to be good just because of explosions. Memento, it will stand the test of time, not because it was the best action movie of the year, not because it was the slavery drama of the year, 12 Years a Slave. It's going to stand the test of time because it is a honestly good and riveting story. And I think that we, as a film generation, need to come back to that and stop seeing the Grown-Ups 2, the Transformers 4s of the world, and try to seek out, I feel like we're missing so many amazing films because the indie world right now is so vibrant, and there's so many great indie movies that, could compare to Memento, I feel like.
Yeah.
But they're being looked over because they don't have explosions, they don't have big budgets.
Yeah.
And I think that if we want to see more movies like Memento in theaters, we need to start spending money. That's how they get it, is by how many people go and see that movie. So go out, see Interstellar, see all these, I think one of my favorite movies of last year was Dallas Buyers Club. And I don't think too many people went and saw that in the box office. But you saw it, correct? Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic movie. It doesn't have a huge budget. It's just a great story.
So it's our job as moviegoers, you know, to go see the great movies, not seeing the Transformers floor slop, not seeing Boyhood, right? Like seeing these great, fantastic movies that are kind of overlooked. But I totally recommend seeing Memento.
Oh, definitely.
Even now, just go out. Don't even rent it. Don't even like download. Just buy it. It's such a great film.
You can't go wrong.
It's just buy it. It's so good. So Memento.
Definitely, I recommend it.
Yes, watch Memento, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Nerd Corner.